What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Avengers 4. So before I get into today's video, I do have a Blu-ray giveaway for Infinity War that will be running. It's already running, but in my country it doesn't come out for another couple of days, so I can't technically start it, but it has started. So all you've got to do is comment and subscribe and tell me who is the best villain in the MCU and why. Don't just go for Thanos. So guys, let's get into this video. We've got a potential plot leak from Reddit yet again. I know you're gonna say, Warstu, another one. Well guys, I find these very interesting because the ones that I went over for Justice League and the one that I went over for Ant-Man and the Wasp and the one that I went over for Infinity War were 90% true. So I find them interesting. So if you don't want to know what could potentially happen, and this video it's not a theory because it's classed as a plot leak. But anyway guys, let's get into the video. So it's a very detailed plot leak on the Marvel Avengers Studio spoiler Reddit page. It's coming from a Reddit user, I'll overlay the name over the top, who has translated the text from Portuguese, claims it's their own source. It's a known leaker, this kind of leak claims. So let's get into the video. So the movie starts with Tony Stark and Nebula arriving on a destroyed Wakanda. They find all the Avengers devastated by the death of half of the universe population. There's tension between Tony and Steve, who soon leaves the place. Black Widow follows him. MCU opening logo, Avengers theme song in a slow pace, announcing a real start to the movie. It is shown what happened after Infinity War. We then see some of Doctor Strange's 14 million versions showing how to beat Thanos based on other dimensions and different times. That includes scenes showing a dead Thor, interesting, Captain America wielding Mjolnir, Tony Stark with a tech gauntlet, and a grey Hulk among some other quick flashes. Now this is kind of interesting because I've done multiple theories on this, so kind of interesting. So let's continue. The whole scene is cut to show Doctor Strange's face waking up in a place that looks just like the one that Thanos was talking to infant Gamora after he snapped his fingers. Thanos looks around and sees thousands of capsules floating through the place. It is shown that those capsules retain all the beings that were killed by the snap. After that, Thanos came back to the kid Gamora again, and we know that place is the Soul Stone. Doctor Strange finds some important characters that his visions revealed, like Hank Pym, Star-Lord, and some unknown characters so far that will be introduced in Captain Marvel movie. Doctor Strange managed to move inside the Soul Stone due to a spell that he casted before dying. He then used the same spell to unfreeze people. He does that to Hank Pym. On Earth, Tony Stark becomes S.H.I.E.L.D's brand new director. He authorizes the activation of the Iron Legion to help rebuild the world. Some units were created to help people that lost their closest ones, like Aunt May and the boy he met on Iron Man 3, who lost his parents after the snap. Tony also uses the Iron Legion to search for Thanos throughout the galaxy. Captain America and his team now search for Hawkeye, who goes by the name of Rowan and wears a mask. Now this bit does actually coincide with some pretty cool, interesting stuff, so this bit could be spot on. Now being an outlaw, he's tracking a person believed to be a Skrull. Steve's companions intend to gather all Cap's team heroes that were together in Civil War. Since Tony and Steve are still acting like adversaries, they try to find Rowan. Captain America then asks him about Scott Lang and how they can find him. Thor meets Dr. Savig and they go again to the cave where he had his first vision of the Infinity Stones in Avengers 2. In this new vision, Thor finds out that everyone who died after the snap weren't really dead, but were kept inside the Soul Stone. With this information, Thor goes to Tony and tells him everything he saw. So this actually could potentially be true here, because we do know based on set photos that they were at Durham, which I presume is the same location as they filmed this scene, but we never seen that in Infinity War. So this bit could be actually true. At this moment, Captain Marvel appears flying over above Manhattan. Tony and Thor go after her, treating her like a new threat. They start a fight where Captain Marvel shows all her powers and defeats both the Avengers. Captain Marvel then tells them she received a signal from Nick Fury. Tony accepts that and she represents no threat. This is going to be pretty funny if this actually happens, right? Because you got Tony Stark and Thor, and I keep saying she's the strongest Avenger. So this basically says if it's true, she destroys Thor. So funny, guys, if it's true. Really can't see it going down like that, but that would be a pretty cool way to introduce her into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So Doctor Strange, gathering Hank Pym's knowledge of the quantum realm, manages to find a way out the Soul Stone through Doctor Strange's dimensional domain. And with that, they manage to go to another dimension, which is called the Quantum Realm, where Scott Lang is stuck. With the help of Janet Van Dyne, Doctor Strange finds out that it's possible to contact Wong in the same way she contacted Scott Lang, through his mind. That way, Wong reaches the place where the Quantum Realm machine is, and he brings back Scott Lang, who then brings all three of them back to the real world. This potential fake plot leak, or whatever you want to call it, actually does sound interesting. Captain America has a long beard and long hair, and is absolutely torn and depressed at this stage. He blames himself for all the losses he's had after Thanos' snap. There is a scene where Cap's team fight the Skrulls. This scene is really intense, with fights, with brawls. Cap's team is almost defeated when suddenly a shiny golden light appears in the sky and defeats all the Skrulls in a matter of seconds. It's none other than Captain Marvel. Oh my god, she's so powerful. She's going to be the strongest Avenger. I tell you what, this is building up Captain Marvel to be super OP, which Kevin Feige has already deemed up, so we can't really mention the Captain Marvel bit being fake until we actually see the Captain Marvel movie. Do you get what I'm saying? Captain Marvel was sent by Tony to find Cap Team and invite him to join the fight with Thanos once again in a temporary truce provided by Tony. Captain Marvel looks at Steve Rogers in his deplorable state and his question about Captain America's honor, doubting that he could really be the legend that she once heard of during her childhood. In an emotional military dialogue with Captain Marvel, Steve is motivated again to come back and once more fight again. They move to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, where they find Tony after a virtual reality video is shown to introduce the whole story so far to Captain Marvel, passing through the Battle of New York all the way to Thanos' snap. Tony gives Captain America's traditional suit back to Steve along with his shield. Steve cuts all his hair and has a shave, taking back the appearance of Captain America from the first Avengers, but Tony says that is all temporary, and after this is all taken care of, there will be no reconciling. So this is kind of interesting. It really does sound like it could be really interesting. After all that, the three teams are gathered: Tony Stark and Thor's team, Captain America, and Doctor Strange and Hank Pym. Hank manages to create a form of tracking the energy trail of the stones, Thanos' whereabouts. Hank Pym and Tony Stark then create a device that he reams the energy of the Infinity Stones, making it possible for a human to hold without dying. Such a device is given to Thor, Iron Man, Scott Lang, Captain America, and Captain Marvel. Bruce Banner, after successfully attempts to turn into Hulk again, merges into finally transform, but keeping in his own mind. This is the welcome of becoming Professor Hulk. I tell you what, if this is real, I'm going to be sold. This is quite interesting. They all travel towards the planet where Thanos is, and they start the final battle. It is a very intense, thrilling fight against Thanos. In a given moment, it looks like the Avengers were lost, but then Captain Marvel appears, shining with great power, faces Thanos in an epic battle. She aims on destroying the gauntlet. The Avengers are together once more, and they manage to destroy the gauntlet, which explodes. All the stones are on the floor. The Avengers retain possession of almost every stone, but Thanos falls back and retreats to the Soul Stone, which disappears after that. Hank, who is still on Earth, manages to track down the whereabouts of the Soul Stone. They come back to Volmore, where Thanos sacrifices Gamora again. Okay, guys, this script, this is going to be a long video. Careful for spoilers. Yeah, this script's kind of interesting. Arriving there, they start a quest for the stone in the teams of two. Tony and Steve find the place and face Red Skull. Steve is shocked that Red Skull still lives. Red Skull then explains that he is now immortal but can't leave Volmere. Okay, that bit kind of doesn't coincide with what the Russo brothers said on Twitter. Now that he is the Stonekeeper, he instructs them in order to gather the Soul Stone, they have to sacrifice something that dear to them. He then suggests that Tony's admiration for Steve and vice versa in a marvelous collaboration. Tony looks to Steve. Steve looks to Tony. In a brief moment of silence, Steve gives Tony his shield and says, "Goodbye, my dear friend." In an emotional, sad scene, Steve throws himself on the cliff, sacrificing his life in order for Tony to use the Soul Stone. Damn, I tell you what, this is deep stuff. Whoever wrote this, if it isn't true, God, Marvel, hire them. After that, Captain Marvel sees the Soul Stone energy and follows it to investigate what is happening. There, she finds a heartbroken Tony Stark with the Soul Stone in his hand. She is sorry, but reminds Tony Stark that it has a duty to accomplish their goal. She gets 2 stones at the same time. Thor wields one without Pym's device. Scott Lang and Tony Stark with the device with a stone for each one. They undo what Thanos did. All the heroes inside the Soul Stone come back to life. The movie ends with Doctor Strange caging Thanos in a dimensional prison in the quantum realm, surrounded by a spell. After that, there's a scene where all the MCU characters are gathered in Captain America's funeral. There are thousands of people in the funeral. In a sad scene, Tony Stark says that the heroes will never give up, even if it means sacrificing their life. The end, there will be 2 post-credit scenes. Everyone is coming out of the cemetery where Steve Rogers is buried. Few people remain there. All of a sudden, in a motion blur, a man appears in a wheelchair without revealing his face, wearing a hat, moving towards the screen. The man takes his hat off, is shown to be a bald man in a wheelchair, followed by 5 people. The music crowds, and the scene ends. Captain Marvel arrives on a devastated planet after receiving a stress call. There, she finds all the soldiers dead. She questions one soldier and asks what happens here. The soldier says a name. The name is Adam WarLock. Captain Marvel pulls a hologram device and contacts a being called Nova. Okay, this is interesting. So, essentially, they're saying the X-Men turn up in the post-credit scene. Adam WarLock and Nova. Damn. So, guys, all your comments down below. This is a very far-fetched theory. Leak. I mean, if it's true, I found it entertaining. Hopefully you watch the video, guys, because I put a lot of effort and empathy into talking like I'm a narrator. Anyway, guys, please like, subscribe and comment. Like always, I'm going to push my Adam WarLock video onto tomorrow because I wanted to make this video first because I thought this script was absolutely fire. Anyway, guys, I will catch you in a video very soon. Catch you later.